Hello everyone, it's me, Jay, here at Frenly Magic. Let's take a look at some of the Magic the Gathering cards, repacks, and I even built a custom mill deck. Hello everyone, this is my new modern mill deck, mono black deck, that will be available for sale. Let's take a quick look at this deck. Thieves Guild Enforcer, one turn play for a 1/1 with flash, so you can play at the end of your opponent's turn. Whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. As long as the opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch. There are four of Thieves Guild Enforcers in this deck. Very nice card. And, just so you know, this deck, all the creature types, except for one, is a rogue. So if this is in play, every other time that you cast a rogue, for each rogue, each opponent mills 2 cards. Each. Very nice. Especially if you can get 2, 3, or 4 out very quickly. You can mill a lot of cards easily. Also, if you have more than one of these out in play, on the next rogue that you play, if you had 2 of these, they would mill 4. They would mill 4 cards if you had 2 of these for each time that you play rogue. Very nice. Shiny. Shiny. This is a shiny card. It's shiny. It's a 2-turn play for a vampire rogue. Expedition Skulker has Death Touch as long as you control another rogue. That's okay, Doki. You'll be able to give it Death Touch easy. All the creatures in here are rogues. There's 3 Expedition Skulker in this deck. Another shiny. Nimana Skydancer. 3-turn play. Flash and flying. When Minan Skydancer enters the battlefield, target opponent mills 2 cards. There's 3 of these cards in this deck, but it pairs off very nicely with Enforcer. So if you had this out in play, +1, then you cast this. If you can cast it, they mill 2. Target opponent mills 2 cards. And then since it's also rogue, each opponent would mill 2. Thank you for watching. Ooh, it's another shiny card. Black Bloom Rogue, 3-turn for a 2/3. Human Rogue. Menace. Black Bloom Rogue gets +3/+0, as long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. That's simple to play with this deck. Also, there are 4 of these cards in this deck. Shiny. Undercity Informer, also a 3-turn drop. Rogue. With 1, sacrifice a creature. Target player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card and puts those cards into his or her graveyard. That means if you're having to sacrifice your own creatures to mill out your opponent's deck, if you played this on your 3rd turn and you had a few rogues, wait until the 4th turn on your opponent's turn, as it were, and then just mill them by paying 1, sacrificing a creature. Make sure you have at least 3 other creatures in play so you can mill out the entire deck. Usually that can work. You can mill out the entire deck this way. There are 3 of these in this deck. Pulse Tracker for 1-turn drop for a 1/1 rogue. Whenever Pulse Tracker attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. Not too bad. You want to use this card with the card effect of Thieves Guild, where it has, whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield under your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. There are 2 of these in this deck. Vampire Cutthroat. Vampire Rogue 1/1 Skulk. Not too bad. and it has lifelink. Even better. It'll pair up nicely with both Guild Enforcer and as a sacrificial creature, this guy. And it has A1, sacrifice a creature. Target player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a land card and puts those cards into his or her graveyard. There are 2 of these in this deck. Shadow Stinger. 3 mana for 1/4 with tap another untapped rogue you control. Shadow Stinger gains Death Touch until the end of turn. But also, whenever Shadow Stinger deals combat damage to a player, that player mills 3 cards. And there is 4 cards of this card in this deck. Mind Rot. 3-turn drop. 3 turns for target player discards 2 cards. And there are 3 cards of this card in this deck. Dark Deal. 3 mana for each player discards all the cards in his or her hand and draws that many cards -1. There are 3 cards of this, and yes, this also means you as well, the player that casted this. But usually, no. Discarding 2 or 3 cards in my hand, not so bad. I might draw 1, 0, or 2 cards. But it's for each player. Very nice. There are 3 cards of this card in this deck. Go Blank. 3-turn play for target player discards 2 cards and exile all cards from that player's graveyard. For 3-turn mana, that's not too bad. Not too bad at all. There's 2 cards of this card in this deck. Relic Golem. For 3 mana, it has Relic Golem can't or attack or block, unless an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard. Now, I really wouldn't use this as attacker or blocker. Its ability is 2 mana, tap it. Target player mills 2 cards. That's what I use it for. Unless I need it for a blocker, I would never use this for as an attacker. You lose its ability if it dies. There are 4 of these in this deck. 4. Millstone for 2 mana. Pay 2, tap it. Target player puts the top 2 cards of his or her library to his or her graveyard. Very nice. It's very similar to the Relic Golem, but for 1 mana less. And if you had 4 mana, you can play it immediately. Unlike Relic Golem, due to summoning sickness, you have to wait 1 more turn. You can use this immediately if you have the mana to cast it for 2, and the 2 to tap it. And there are 3 millstones in this deck. Memorial to Folly. Memorial to Folly enters the battlefield tapped, tap it, add 1 black. Pay 3 mana, tap it, sacrifice Memorial to Folly, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. There's 2 of these in this deck, and it will pair up nicely with there it is. I'll pair up nicely with Nimana Sky Dancer. Flash flying, when Nimana Sky Dancer enters the battlefield, target opponent mills 2 cards. I'll pair up nicely with this card. You also get 20 cards of basic swamps to play this deck. There's 60 cards in this deck. Minimum to play Modern is 60. Thank you all for watching. This deck will be available for the Saturday and Sunday open. See you there at Frenly Magic.